I saw Dan Lanning's name trending on Twitter, and of course, we know what he accomplished last night, and this is no small feat. We typically focus on head coach winning national championships and players winning national championships, but there's a whole support staff, of course, especially those offensive and defensive coordinators that make it work. But I saw his name trending on Twitter and saw a lot of really cool videos of him on the field and different outlets interviewing him. And at the end of one, he gave it a "Go Dogs, Go Ducks," and he was out. And it seemed pretty appropriate that it was kind of his send off to Georgia, and then I'm off to now be the Oregon head football coach. And so, go Ducks.
Yeah, I think it's a great fit. I mean, I think a lot of Duck fans out here became Georgia Bulldog fans immediately, especially when the word was that he was going to coach the rest of the year. And of course, starting next year, the storyline is just insane, with obviously the first game of next year being in Atlanta to start the year off, and Oregon's playing Georgia. So, and Duck fans are really looking ahead to that game. We're kind of in the futures market out here, Mark, and we're trying to kind of focus on the future as being a very bright situation, and having these guys that are young and fired up and really represent on the field. Obviously, the players are different. Georgia's got than what Oregon's going to be having, but Oregon's got a pretty solid defense and a lot of really talented players to work with.
Yeah, if you're going to have your coach missing for a couple weeks, it's got to be a sense of satisfaction and hope to see that he's on the sideline coaching a national championship defense, and he accomplished the mission.
Yeah, and look good doing it. I mean, I think that, when you compare their games, and obviously not everybody on the West Coast is that interested in SEC football, but of course we, as football fans that we're watching it all, and that's the game of the year, right? But the SEC championship game was the game of the year before that, and I made a point to watch that game. And Alabama had some big plays in that game. They kind of ran away with it at times a little bit, it felt like, and Georgia just completely contained them in this national championship game. So the adjustments that were made from game to game was awesome. Now compare that to the Ducks, where no adjustments were made between the first Utah game, the second Utah game, where they both got beat by 38 points or whatever the case may be, 28 points. And so again, I just, there's certain things that we're seeing them do that we really enjoy. And again, I just think the philosophy of going from, a lot of people kind of started paying attention to the Ducks around the Chip Kelly era. And I get that. Known for its offense, I think we're now changing gears, and Mario Cristobal really did help. His 4 years did make the adjustment, got bigger in the weight room, went to a different style of football. It helped make the adjustment to what I think you're going to see with this Dan Lanning defense. First and foremost, I think he is going to be hands on the defensive side.
Yeah, because I was going to segue from exactly that. Even though it's Dan Lanning head coach, it's of course he's going to have a whole lot to say about the defense, and you would want it that way. But there is a new defensive coordinator in play. So what do we know about him?
So Tosh Lupoy is a West Coast guy from his days in college at Cal. Great player at Cal. Amazing recruiter. The days where he was a recruiter at Cal, he was basically one of the best recruiters in the conference. When Cal was kind of up and down. There were years where Cal was in the top 5. There were years where Cal wasn't really in the running for the Pac-12. So had some ups and downs. There's some troubling stuff in his past when it comes to passing the bag or anything else. Maybe a lot of that stuff we're just talking about might be now above board with everything else that we see, the changes in the NCAA. But went to Washington. There was some issues there when he was kind of recruiting while he was at Cal for guys to go up to Washington with him, and got kind of busted for that. Tenure in Washington wasn't great, and left on kind of some bad terms. As most people do, they go to the school of Nick Saban, and he completely rebuilt his whole career there and became actually a defensive coordinator the year that they got beat by Clemson, and was a defensive coordinator that full year for them. Then went into the NFL and has NFL experience. So he's a guy he knows what he's doing on the defensive side. It's not like Dan Lanning is going to run the defense. I just think that you're going to have a lot of really strong coaches having their eyes on the defense. Then you have Matt Powledge as well. It comes in, but I do think that Dan Lanning, Tosh Lupoy, right there alone, 1-2 punch. Those guys are going to have a lot to say about this defense.